Facebook, and they knew that if you followed the paper trails and it was back to them, so they were going to make it seem like it was a big pandemic, so that they can now come in as the lifesavers and avoid them saying, "I'm sorry, we released it."
It does seem like they use that tactic a lot.
Yeah. So I feel
Where
like
they create some sort of weird thing and then they
yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If we look at these starting
Exactly. And so I think the vaccine is a way to make things seem like a hero, but I also think that natural immunity is good also. You know what I mean? And
that's the disservice that we're by talking to people and telling them that the vaccine is the only way. This is the worst thing ever. I mean, yes, it is a way to stay safe from the COVID. I believe that. But also, someone who's had natural immunity, like, so very much why, if anyone's gotten the flu, they have somewhat of an immunity to it. And there's been no evidence that it's worse than the shot itself.
yeah.
Matter of fact, there's ample evidence that it's as good or better
Yeah.
than the shot.
Yeah.
Pairing it up with the shot only gives you better coverage. But it's a shame because they know this. They know if they say, well, if you have natural immunity, you're okay. But how do you prove natural immunity? We can prove when people get shots.
Yeah.
We can prove that with this little card. And you can lie if they lie themselves.
No, you didn't hear it from us though.
There's like a black market for CDC vaccination cards. Am I wrong? Like, I got mine. It came blank. All it had were, I don't even have my purse around me, but it had. I wrote my own name on the thing. All I had was the shot that it took, the date, and like the lot number of it, which is a random assortment of letters and numbers. About 5 digits, I think. So you can like. Well, how do you fucking verify that, right? Of course, everyone needs to show their ID, which it doesn't make sense. So we jump into this weird thing where it's obviously control-based with the leads on top. Because they'll say things like, you need to get the vaccine. It's mandated. However, you need to show an ID that you have the vaccine. If I'm incorrect, someone correct me, please. But as far as I'm concerned, I had to show my ID. A lot of people have to show their ID. I think everyone has to show their ID. Because who knows if you may be taking it more than once. I don't know. Maybe you grow extra arm or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, they will. But
And that's where, again, that's where I leave off in saying, I think because not that I'm super familiar with government, but the ongoing joke about the government is that it's ineffective and it's stupid. That's the ongoing joke that everybody knows. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think I would rather err on the side of just stupidity and saying, look, they've probably been working on something, they did want the American people to know, this got released somehow, some way, accidentally, and now they're trying to cover their footsteps because we knew the paper trail was going to lead back to it, we have all the emails and all the funding. And so to prevent that, they were going to make it seem like a big scary thing so that they can come to that to these budget deals, and everyone would be like, oh, this is some money, this farmer doesn't need to do this. That's what I think happens, right? That's me giving them grace. So, the weird thing about them pushing it on people, that's where it's like, you already have, like, what, 40-some% of the American population is taking it. You know what I mean? Not the majority, but it's up there, you know what I mean? So why are we constantly pushing it as a means, you know, in that lady in, I think Canada or something like that, where she came out and said, God gave us a vaccine, be my vaccine apostles, and like, you know, she's like, New York.
yes, it's the new mayor of New York.
The mayor of New York.
Interim mayor.
Yeah, like stuff like that. That's where I get a little fury because it's like God gets this to us. Yeah, I mean in a way, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, but the way she's making it seem is like fall down and worship the vaccine. Look how great it is.
You be my apostles. You're like, okay. So we're your apostles. What does that make you? And what? You're Jesus or something?
Yeah, something. Or how are you making the vaccine?
Hey, I don't want to get too much about that, but I remember I was like, I wanted to ask you, why did God pick Mary? Is there any significant thing, or is it just random?
Like, you know, just kind of how he chose Judas to betray him. He knew Judas was going to betray him. I mean,
But see, he had a plan. He knew that was going to happen. Like, was there any? I guess he knew the plan of Jesus happening, but like, she didn't have any significance or anything.
she was what, 16?
She was like 16, 15, nothing. I don't want to besmirch the Holy Virgin's name, but you can't even call her Holy Virgin. Well, she was a Holy Virgin, but then she wasn't after.
No, they're not done. Jesus had roses. Yeah.
Lots of them.
Lots of them.
Lots of
What
them.
about,
They
like,
made a movie about the last one.
4 or 5 songs?
4 or 5?
Yeah.
To believe that Joseph and Mary didn't get down is.
Come on.
What did Chris Rock say in Dogma?
Oh, shit.
If you, anyways, you know,
I feel like you have to do
to believe that Joseph and Mary didn't get down is wrong.
You want the last round.
Yeah, he got his like, his like fingers. You got to see syrup or jelly. I prefer jelly.
Now we gotta do black too.
All right. Should we get into that that announcement, or should we wait for next week to meet up?
Maybe next week, just so we can have a good idea of what's going on.
Yeah. We need to move forward with roll call, but maybe I can just say I'm going to be taking a hiatus from the program. Okay. That's about all you need to know for now. There's more details to come, but you'll be seeing in less road conference today. Okay, that was a nice little update. You guys want to give us a call? If you're watching us live on YouTube and Facebook, the number is on the screen. I don't think we're going to be putting it up on the screen for those watching at home. But you call you can with the voicemail. Okay, so earlier this week there was this absolutely crazy story, and you know, it's not actually that crazy. It's a common story that I seem to hear a lot, where somebody called somebody a racist slur or said something racist. The other person grabbed their phone out and started recording it. That got shipped around virtually and then virally and such, and then that person's life ruined, and then hopefully they can proceed.
That makes a lot.
Vis-a-vis fucking Nick Sanders, right? I mean, imagine his story. You know, we get a fucking 2-second clip where, or even longer, where he's standing there while fucking listening to like. He's just looking like, okay. But he wore a MAGA hat.
Peacefully. That's right.
I think that's how the media portrayed it. Oh, no, they said, that's a very punchable face. That's right. Interesting. So we have another example, or it's, I don't know if it's a relative example. It's more a relative example, but it's not identical situation. But this also does remind me of the same area or Central Park, right, where the woman was out with her dog and there was a guy bird watching, and she straight up says like, this man's bothering me, or he's doing something threatening me, and he's a black man or something, and everyone fucking freaks out, and she loses her dog, loses her job, and now she's suing for wrongful termination because it turns out she wasn't being racist in there. Like they asked if like what color his skin was, and she said it was a black man. Like, but then out of context, we hear her go, "It's a black man," and then it's like, "Oh shit, like that's hard." Like, you can't even see black people. So you feel like, are they gonna get angry because it's a person? You think? Oh, I was gonna keep going on a rant there, but go ahead if you got something.
My wife and I go watching Rocket, and this thinking was like, how many things Michael Scott says that would never be allowed to do? It'd be like 90% of that stuff. Whether it's towards women or minorities or whatever it is. Michael Scott, but that's what made him funny, that's what made the show funny, was that everybody that complaints was his fault. Yeah, what everybody knew that what he was doing was wrong, everybody just laughed at his ignorance. And then he said, yeah, it was ignorance. So it was like, no, it's okay, you know I like you, and I'm not saying these things to be mean or evil, I'm saying this because I like you and I love you and you're friend. You know what I mean? And it seems like we've lost that in the culture. You know, I was telling my wife today of how I'm reading the book, Chesterton, and how he talked about comedy or satire being like one of the last forms of freedom. And I'm like, that's so true, and that's why you need comedy in culture. It's because when things begin to fall apart, and I was telling my wife, this is why movies do such a good service to the community, because every now and then when it seems like it's about to boil over, you see something that makes you laugh and makes you realize, this is just life. You know what I mean? And satire and comedy just does that. And if we lose that in our culture, and that's what the media is going after, like attacking Joe Rogan and a lot of comics, they're going after the last vestige of free speech, of freedom, of fun, by saying you can't even say right. They've gone after the Babylon Bee.
And
That is satire. You know what I mean?
That one is so funny because their headlines are so good.
They're
and
so
you think
good.
that they're real, but it's like in this world, the satire is it's becoming, what do they call that? Poe's law. It's like we can't differentiate fucking satire from reality anymore.
Yep.
Because people are taking it to that extreme. You know, I mean, 20 years ago, you said men are playing with women now. Like,
It
what do
was-
you mean transsexual, transvestites? Like, no. They like are running in the Olympics and fighting in UFC. They're like, well, you know that. Actually, UFC was been around about 20 years ago.
Just about.
You know, like boxing and kickboxing and like wrestling. Like, think about how it's put together.
Yeah.
And like, maybe a person that's a dude that's not a woman that's fighting a woman, but not like the same kind of woman as him, but like a actual vagina woman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a body with a vagina.
And this person has pounds and pounds of muscle, like has a manly physique, but just claims to be a woman.
Well, they're taking the hormone. Stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, you grew up with, you grew up as a big man, a big rat, growing up with a certain definition. Obviously, the differences there. Well, I'm very happy for that. So, yeah, I like that. When it comes to men, it's like one thing. But all these things that men haven't fully understood, it's completely overrated by the kind of science. I was trying to criticize people overdoing it because of science, and that's how crazy it's science. And that's why, you know, and I've heard a little bit more people are afraid of this in the coming weeks, but there's rightly finding what's going on right now. It's not crazy. And that's what I've been saying for a while. This is the working of science. Because you know what you should pull up, Brandon, after you turn my volume down here in the monitor, is pull up that Carl Sagan clip you sent us.
Oh,
Because that was a really good one about science and politicians. Because it's all like we have these bipartisan science thing, and the Republicans not really united as like that. Pushing something. So the Asian ladies and people like that. But yeah, basically, so they got rid of it, and now we have politicians that know nothing about science. And it's like they still don't know anything about science. But instead, what they've done is they've employed fake things that yeah, there it is. There's the great Carl Sagan. Show us some lovely and philosophical things. How are you?
It's not that pseudoscience and superstition and New Age so-called beliefs and fundamental zealotry are something new. They've been with us for as long as we've been human. But we live in an age based on science and technology, formed technological power.
Science and technology are propelling us forward at accelerating rates.
That's right. And if we don't understand, by we, I mean the general public, if it's something that, oh, I'm not good at that, I don't know anything about it, then who's making all the decisions about science and technology that are going to determine what kind of future our children are going to have? Just some members of Congress? But there's no more than a handful of members of Congress who have any background in science at all. And the Republican Congress has just abolished its own Office of Technology Assessment, the organization that gave them bipartisan competent advice on science and technology. But we don't want to know. Don't tell us about science.
Surprisingly, it's the danger of all this. I mean, this is not the thing.
There's two kinds of things. One is what I just talked about that we would arrange the society based on science and technology. There was nobody who said anything about science and technology. And this combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces. I mean, who is running the science and technology
in a democracy if the people don't know anything about it? And the second reason that I'm worried about this is that science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility.
This is important.
If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along. It's a thing that Jefferson laid great stress on. It wasn't enough, he said, to enshrine some rights in a constitution or a Bill of Rights. The people had to be educated, and they had to practice their skepticism and their education. Otherwise, we don't run the government. The government runs us.
And at this point, the government's running us.
Yep,
I mean, what he just said, we need to, and that's what the people, the anti-vaxxers, the anti-mask people are talking about. They're not just like, oh, I'm not wearing a mask because I don't want to. They have reasons, scientific reasons. They have reason to be skeptical.
And the sad thing is, you know, and I get this all the time with people on Facebook and stuff like that, is they block the science that we're trying to present.
Yeah.
The scientists who would be...
it's settled science. That's how they work around this. They go, oh no, the scientists all agree on this.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's that now.
Yeah.
But it's like the scientists all agreed on something like, oh, the Earth being flat at some point.
Yep.
And somebody presented something else.
Yep.
But that's like what we're doing here. The science is saying it's settled here, and other people are saying this. But here's the difference now. There's people who believe in this one so much that it's become a faith. It hasn't become a workable idea anymore because there's plenty of evidence on the other side. They've raised that one up.
Yep.
And now that's the science. And if you don't believe that, you are anti-science.
Yep.
Even though you're using the same exact method of science that they use.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact.
Well, and it's funny because this is nothing new. This is the same problem that got us the separation between church and state, and why the Americas came from England, right? And this is why we need to understand history. What happened before was the church was in cahoots with the government, and so whatever the church wanted to be passed, they just had to talk to the politicians. And the politicians of the government, if they wanted to coerce people to do something, they just spoke to the church, because you know what I mean. And so what we saw, right? If so and so's son wanted to be in the church and kind of have a stronger influence there, okay, well, you would have to pay them off. They become a deacon. The government, you know, dedicates a certain amount of money to this church to be built under this pope. They get a church erected, and that's the way it used to be until, again, Martin Luther and the Reformation came along, which showed the Pope and the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, to be what it was, which ended up starting the Reformation, the Anabaptists, that started everything that led to the Americas being birthed. Now what we're seeing is the same thing with science. Science is now becoming this next religion, but because it's new, we don't know how to handle it. Right? The reason we have separation of church and state is because we saw what happened when it was being used to usurp power over the people. Now you're seeing the same thing with science. You're seeing science and government having this power that's trying to coerce people to do something, and this is where we get revolutions.
Well, I see you talk about science, but like they're still using science. They're coming to these conclusions. It's just that they are suppressing any sort of other conclusions that somebody else makes.
Yeah.
And no matter how credible they are.
Well, and
that's the problem that we have with everything, is that the skepticism is out of the window at this point.
And that's why I bring up the Reformation and the separation from the Catholic Church, because back then, who were the ones who were the moral arbiters of the day? It was the church and the people, the bishops and the deacons and all that. Well, they were the only ones who understood the scriptures because it was all written in Latin. So your common man didn't know the scriptures.
They were elitist in a way.
They were.
I read
Exactly.
Latin, and you can try to show somebody, and you can make it up if you
Yep,
wanted to.
exactly. So what are they doing now with the science? Because your everyday common man can't read it. The scientists are doing the same thing they did before and saying, "Oh, we know how to interpret it. Just trust us." But when other scientists are coming and saying, "No, like there's this other science that is proving them wrong," when the people who are the lying start attacking those who are telling the truth, that's when it comes off so easy. And that's what you saw in the Reformation. Martin Luther was saying, "No, this is what the scripture's saying. We need to give this to everyday man." And the church is saying, "No, we need to kill him." And what are they doing now with science that is going against the scientism? Oh, we got to get him off the internet.
Suppress him.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. It's not just the same in the sense of how it looks. It's also just in the overall understanding of it. Look at the history and how it was brought up. And that's why seeing Facebook and Google in the White House and they're having connections with the with the Biden administration, it's
Same
weird.
thing.
Yeah, same thing. But it's weird because it's like, wait, government is meant to help us, the American people, not other governments or not bigger establishments or businesses. The government is there for us, the everyday person, making sure that we don't get overtaken by big tech or by other countries or by other people. The government is there for the people, but what we see now is the government is in bed with big tech and big pharma working against the people. And that's where we're getting hurt.
I think it's sort of unintentional in a way, and there's something more nefarious above them. But I think they all have the same thing, and I think it's what everybody that I know that's this way is thinking. They think that they're more virtuous.
Yeah.
That they care more.
Yes.
Maybe they do. Maybe they do.
Maybe.
Because maybe they feel like they have to, like, care about others.
Mm-hmm.
I sure as hell don't think I have to care about others. And I don't want to care about others.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make me a bad person? There are people I absolutely care about, and I do everything I can for them.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to, like, and that doesn't just include my immediate friends or family. It includes anyone that I want to be nice to.
Yeah.
I don't have to be nice to anyone I don't want to.
Yep.
And they don't either. They sure as hell don't. They're not nice to people they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow they want to dictate what you do.
Yes.
And instead of letting you do you, as they would say, you be you. They let you do all sorts of stuff, choose all sorts of things. But you don't get to come as you are.
You can abort a baby. You can cut your genitals off. You can gender reassign your kids. You can do all these things in their America, but you cannot not get a vaccine.
It's about choice. And there's a big choice out there to be a fucking racist. And we're going to talk about one of these racists right now. Now, I got this from the Daily Wire, great publication. They're conservative, by the way, and they're not hiding it, okay?
No.
New York woman loses job after anti-racist author alleges racism at dog park. Pushes employer for accountability. And like I said, this is coming from the Daily Wire from Tim Pierce, my man. So a New York woman lost her job on Sunday after a prominent anti-racist author accused her of telling him and his fiancée to stay in our hood during an altercation at a dog park. Frederick Joseph is the author of the anti-racist book, The Black Friend, on being a better white person.
Oh, no.
That's the name of the book, The Black Friend, colon, on being a better white person.
Oh, no.
Could you, can you, would you, should you, can you imagine if the races were reversed? How is that not racism to just go on being a better white person? You're not white. Like, I can understand if, Richard Simmons wrote this book and said fucking some shit like being a better white person. Like, how I'm being a better white person. Like, okay, no one's thinking that's racist. If he wrote how to be a better black person, you better believe there'd be outrage. This is a New York
the person who
New York
wrote
Times bestseller.
The person who wrote the book is white or black?
A black man. And I'll tell you more about this guy. His
So
name
a
is-
black man is telling white people how to be better at being white.
Exactly. Because, he's experienced a lot of racism,
Hey.
so he knows what not to do.
There you
So
go.
that's what his book will be. But this man's name is Frederick Joseph, and he served as a campaign surrogate for Senator Elizabeth Warren
Really?
and Bernie Sanders.
Huh.
I wrote the damn bill. According to his website. At least he says I worked for them. Joseph posted a video on Saturday night of an altercation between him and a woman, later identified as Emma Sarley, in a dog park in Brooklyn. It sucks that we all have to know her name. Like, she totally got doxxed over this,
Yeah,
but
for
like,
real.
let's keep going on. Quote, actually, let's just watch this video here. This is the video of him. It's in that Twitter. Let's go ahead and pop that live, and let's check her out.
Check her out or it out.
Stay in our hood? No.
I'm gonna invite everyone.
Stay in our hood. Stay in our hood. That's it. I'm sorry, what? Stay in our
Did you
hood?
say that to me?
Stay in our hood. You just told us.
stay in our hood.
You just told us to leave the dog park and stay in our hood.
Oh my god, did you just say that to me? Shit.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Wow, the Karen and the white.
I'm sorry. You were right here. Watch this entire thing. Did she just not stand here and tell us to stay in our hood?
She did.
You just told us to stay.
Okay, so this video, and we'll read more, and the whole article just sort of goes and says this, but after Joseph posted the video to Twitter to his roughly 116,000 followers, and some of his followers tracked down the woman and identified her. Joseph then used the information to launch a pressure campaign against Bevy, a community event software platform, and her employer.
Damn.
He goes, hey, at this person, I see that Bevy HQ is attempting to be better about race equality, etc. Joseph tweeted Sunday tagging Bevy CEO Derek Anderson. Quote, I thought you should see this. I'm hoping black colleagues and peers don't have to face this sort of racism from Emma. Oh my goodness. And so the next tweet down shows all the screenshots of who she is. They found her. They found her. And totally doxed the shit out of her. Anderson apparently saw Joseph's tweet and spoke with him, calling the incident with her extremely troubling. Quote, spoke with Fred T. Joseph about his and his fiance's horrific experience from last night. So sorry to them for what has happened. No one should treat people the way he witnessed. This is extremely troubling. I will update you shortly. Joseph said after the conversation that he hoped for, quote, accountability for her racist behavior. And if you go down to the next tweet where it's him, and he's there, it's a tweet, keep going down, and it's a video of him. And I want to play this because this is him in his own words.
So I was just told that Bevy has terminated Emma Sarley after her racist attack against my fiance and I in the dog park. And while it's unfortunate that she had to lose her job, I do think that this brings up an important conversation about accountability, especially in a country where black and brown people, marginalized people as a whole, have seen so little of it oftentimes, right? Having to bear the burden of racism, sexism, homophobia, etc. I think that it's important that people know that there are consequences for their actions, right? And I don't think that it's up to victims to have to coddle, people who are engaging in abuse. When I woke up yesterday morning, I didn't expect to have to be a part of this conversation.
Bullshit.
I didn't expect to go to the dog park as a black person. And
You're
have
not.
to receive,
All right.
racism.
Stop. Stop this video. This guy is not fucking black. Barely look. You look Puerto Rican, if anything. You look more black than he does.
I do probably, dude. I was gonna say this isn't a man. This is a bitch.
Clearly.
And I say that because
Next link.
as a Christian, right? I call this guy a bitch, and then I'm gonna explain my Christianity right afterwards. But as a Christian, I strongly believe in the idea of turn the other cheek. And what's going on right now is this victim chasing, where everybody wants to be a victim about it.
Yeah.
What happened to turn the other cheek? You know what I mean? Like,
and this guy's a New Yorker too. Like, they're supposed to have the
They're supposed
toughest
to be the thick
goddamn
skin.
the toughest and thickest skin. Yet he's obviously like traumatized. I'm absolutely hurt off, and my mental health is off. It's like, shut the fuck up. So what if she said go back to your fucking hood? So the fuck what if she said that? She's a fucking loser.
Well, not just that. She sounded drunk, did she not?
She did sound she was like,
what?
What'd you say to me? What?
Yeah.
What?
It's like,
Oh my god.
it's like a Roseanne situation all over again. Remember Roseanne on fucking, she was on those pills or whatever? And then,
Oh yeah. Well, you can't excuse Yeah.
But
anyways,
she no, even with that, I was like, I'm not.
truth
Like,
serum.
I could see what Roseanne meant by saying, "Oh, I didn't even know this lady was black. She doesn't look black. She looks like an Israeli or whatever." But it's like what you said in the beginning of the monologue. Sticks and stones.
I
Words,
lost a ton
words,
of money on that stock.
Words hurt more than sticks and stones nowadays. You know what I mean?
Well,
And-
yeah, especially when he said like that racist attack on
Yeah.
me. A racist attack. She allegedly said, "Go back to your hood."
Yeah. Allegedly.
That's an attack. That in what world?
Yeah.
Go home is
Bro,
what she said.
well,
Essentially said, "Go
bro,
home
and again,
stay at your home."
And this guy's supposed to be a New Yorker, dude. New York. You know what an attack is as a New Yorker?
That's getting fucking mugged.
It isn't speech, man.
That's getting butt raped.
Yeah.
By
that's
a
an
large
attack.
inmate.
By a rat, maybe, on fucking those New York streets. You know what I mean? And that's how I can tell this dude, like, I don't know. I'm from the hood, bro. So it's like an attack to me is like, oh, did they run up on you? Did they try to jack you? No, they said words. How about this bitch smack this dude in the... Man.
Could you imagine if, like, my bosses, and I used to always say this, I'm like, I'm sure my bosses one day will get a hold of some of these tapes and, like, someone should cut some of these things out, you know, the things I've said about Muslims or, you know, Christianity.
I think about
or
that all the time.
People in general. I've said the N-word on this show many times. Imagine if they sent any of those clips to my boss and they got me fired for my opinion that I say on my platform. Like, that is... And for them to do that kind of thing, to go, like, look at mommy, look, he said the N-word. And most of the time when I say it as a joke.
I've had people do that to me.
Because it is a joke word.
I've had people do that to me.
Yeah.
And try to get me fired from a job or whatever it be because of things I've said. And it's like, I posted on Facebook. It's like, am I not allowed to my own opinion and an idea?
She can absolutely sue for wrongful termination. There's total grounds on that because it's... Okay, the only thing that she actually did on camera was flip it off and push the phone away. But obviously there was a phone with a bright light pointed right at me. Fuck you, push this. And whether or not she said it, I think she probably said it. Why not, right? I'll go with that. So what? She said it.
That isn't violence.
So she needs to lose her livelihood for that? You need to reveal her name out there, and how's she going to get a job? Are you going... Oh, so racist all of a sudden because they said a couple words you didn't like. And it wasn't even racist words. They were just, go back to this place. It didn't say, go back to this place, N-word. You are dirty scumbag, N-word. No, it was like, go back to where you come from.
And think about how...
Oh, my God, so racist.
Think about how... Think about the black people who actually suffered racism, getting hosed down by white officers. People who were there to protect them, actually being against them. And fucking... That's racism. Imagine them hearing these black people nowadays talk about their racism, right? Somebody maybe who got hit, Rodney King or something, right? Who got beat for being black. And then it's like, you know, oh yeah, what's your racism? Oh, well, someone said some words. It hurts just as much as your beatings did. Right? Think about the slaves who suffered and were in chains and went through, who saw family members hung. That's the racism they went through, but you're going through just... Go back to your hood.
Oh, the racist attack.
What?
This man's a pussy. Oh, you know what?
He sounds like one too.
Not only is a big giant pussy face, you know, the biggest race baiter of our time, author of the 1619 Project. Do you know her name?
I don't know her name.
Nicole Hannah-Jones.
There you go.
The brave, illustrious, wonderful.
I'm sure she's not illustrious.
Okay. But I want to read this story from the Daily Mail, and Jesus Christ, look at the goddamn ads.
Oh, wow.
Get your shit together. It's like everything's ad, and then the ads follow you as you scroll down, so it's shitty. The author of the 1619 project has condemned a black author for his campaign to get a white woman fired following an altercation that we talked about. Nicole Hannah-Jones, one of the most influential anti-racism voices in the U.S., reacted on Monday evening to Frederick Joseph getting a woman fired. Quote, "This doesn't sit right with me and does not seem like an ethical use of one's platform. Even this racist bitch thinks that this was too much."
Wow.
Even
wait, is she black
this
or white?
She's black.
Okay. I'm
she wrote
confused
this.
right
She's
now.
this New York best time seller for writing the 1619
Yeah,
project
yeah.
that says America started in
Yeah.
1619 when we brought the first slaves
Yeah.
to America.
Yeah.
And it was built on America. America was built on the backs of slaves.
I'm just,
therefore,
bro.
blah,
I'm
blah,
just
blah.
waiting for them to actually admit the Mexicans were the ones who fucking did everything and let us take over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have a taco truck in every fucking corner. Wouldn't you want that? You know you would.
Scrolling down, it says she could not be heard making the "stay in their hood" comment. Joseph began a campaign to get the woman identified and fired. On Monday night, he defended his own actions, saying he was accused of going too far in his attempts to track down and punish this woman. Others have also questioned the accuracy of the event, the version of events, his version of events, although a third eyewitness in the park was filmed confirming them at Joseph's request. Obviously, and also there's things you can say like he was in fact drinking. He's holding a can of something, and people say that's beer, so may not be a credible source because he's like, yeah, she did. While it's uncomfortable, while it's unfortunate that she had to lose her job, I do think that this brings up an important conversation about accountability. And he said this: I hope Emma learns from this. I hope other people learn from who engage in abusive, racist, and destructive behavior. What did she do? She just said, "Go home."
Bro, this guy towered over her. You could tell by the way he was recording. He towered over her.
Way tall,
and he's afraid of a little white girl who's drunk.
Drunk white girl. You show me one man who can beat up a drunk white girl, and I'll show you every single man in the world. It doesn't take away the feeling of feeling like anything racist can happen anywhere. If she respected us or black people as a whole, not only would she not have done what she did, she would have attempted to apologize. He wrote on Twitter, people should consider within themselves why there's such normalization of racist behavior. The controversy began when Joseph, who previously complained that his Airbnb in upstate New York had satanic decoration, tweeted a video of the incident. Now, I want to put a pin in this because that's a hyperlink. It says, the controversy began when Joseph, who has previously complained is hyperlinked. Can we go to that? Because you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe what this fucking shit stirrer started here. This Airbnb home with, quote, devil worship decor made family feel unsafe, a renter says. And this comes from September 8th, 2020, about a year ago. Halloween came early for one family who claims that they were driven from their Airbnb rental home by symbols of witchcraft and Satanism. New York City author Frederick Joseph detailed the short-lived rental experience on Tuesday on a Twitter thread. He paid $1,150 for 2 nights at the 2-bedroom home for himself, his fiancée, and his 21-year-old cousin, and his 8-year-old brother. But the family encountered, quote, seemingly satanic items and stuff for witchcraft rituals, end quote. When they arrived, Joseph tweeted, the owner had listed the Spring Glen, New York rental as a 2-bedroom getaway with a Scandinavian vibe. But Joseph says the decor was unexpected. I went inside the home to check it out, and I noticed there were no blinds on any of the windows. He tells Yahoo Life, you can see into the home from any angle. Joseph says he ventured into the basement only because its staircase greeted him at the front door. There he discovered animal skulls and ritualistic floor markings alongside shattered glass. The markings, he said, led to a door that opened to a bathtub outside that was surrounded by unlit candles. And if you want to just click on this thread on his Twitter down there where he's got the pictures, this is the listing pictures. And it's a beautiful place. It's got a like a patio that's got an old school tub, and like it's got a creek behind it. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely stunning.
Dope.
Gorgeous, my boy.
That's pretty fucking
Then you've got the next picture. Yeah, nice little cottage kitchen. Nice vent on the stove there. Nice cutting board. Here's one of the bedrooms. Okay. Nothing to look at here. Here's another one. Okay, nothing crazy. So of course I'm going to rent this. Well, lo and behold, this is not what I expect. Now, I want to stay on this Twitter thread, and if you go down, when we walked up to the house, and this is Frederick Joseph saying this on his second tweet following this, when we walked up to the house, we noticed an animal skull hanging on the outside of the house, so I went inside to check it out. When I walked in, I went to the basement and found more animal skulls and ritualistic markings on the floor, and then I went up to the rooms to find much more. And if you look at this video he posted, as we walked through the 2 rooms, we found a bunch of imagery, candles, books, etc. for rituals and what looked like devil worship. My brother was terrified, as were we. We called Airbnb and told them we couldn't stay here and explained the situation. Can you make that full screen? And if you look around, he sort of scans this area and kind of go back to it, the beginning, because then he shows you the desk. Okay, pretty normal. And then he goes up to the shelf, which you don't see in the pictures, by the way. Nice. And you got some weird like statue of something fucking there, right? And then you got some, the skulls and some bones and, weird imagery, some Russian dog, German shepherd. Yeah, some weird pictures. And then what's this thing? A bird in a bag? Okay, well, let's move that. And then you have Beelzebub, that Church of Satan statue. What do they call that? They call that
The Baphomet.
Baphomet, yeah, that's right. Okay, so if you want to scroll down to the next tweet, he says, we were told that we couldn't receive a full refund, and they spoke to the owner, who said that they were just a few small art pieces that they could remove. This was a lie. It was the whole damn house, not a few things. The whole damn house, not a few things. Did you just see a few things, or the whole damn house being a satanic ritual with ritualistic markings, which, by the way, he never shows you.
Yeah, I didn't see the markings.
He never shows you the markings on the floor. And I'm going to keep reading because he keeps going and saying he's pissed off at this point. Whether or not he stayed there or not, I think he still ended up staying there. They just had to take all the satanic shit and put it away. There was also a bridge from the woods behind the house to the back of the patio. Needless to say, we left because we are black and not dealing with something that was, 1, advertised completely different, 2, looks like a scene from Hereditary, and 3, made the entire family feel unsafe. All that to say, this isn't how guests should be treated. I use Airbnb frequently, and there are many reasons in this situation which should warrant a refund, especially our safety and mental/emotional health. Especially our safety. Art makes you feel unsafe, huh? Interesting.
Huh.
Oh, it also affects your mental and emotional health. Interesting. That just a piece of artwork, couple pieces of artwork, ritualistic markings, perceived ritualistic markings.
I mean, if my wife and I would have gone there, we probably would have just put that stuff in the closet or asked them to remove it.
And you're a guy that, I mean, I don't know. I don't think this guy actually believes in Jesus. He'll probably say he does, but, the way he thinks, he probably he doesn't believe men, he probably thinks Jesus is black.
Probably. I mean,
I like to think my Jesus is Filipino. Got a dirty old mustache.
Fu Manchu.
I don't know about, well, he got Fu Manchu, but he curls up the ends. I like to think of him about 5'5", about 155 pounds, with boxing gloves, look like Manny Pacquiao. I like to believe my guy's like Manny Pacquiao. Thank you, Jesus. Now, why don't you fight the devil with those boxing gloves that you have there? 8-ounce boxing gloves. Thank you very much, Jesus. Okay, so I went down the rabbit hole. More replies. Some people are like supporting him. I'd go so far to say that Airbnb needs to remove this house from its listings.
Wow.
Another guy says, absolute drama king. It's a lovely place. Get a grip, please. So a few pics and a statues you don't like, then go put them away. The bath with the candles. Oh, how lovely. Right there in nature. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Think you wrote this to drum up your book sales? Nothing wrong with this gaff at all in your head, mate. And it just keeps going on. People are like, oh, Airbnb, what are you going to do about it? And it's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, I've gone to plenty of Airbnbs. I'm satanic. I've gone to Airbnbs that have crosses. Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. I should go start. I should ask for a refund right now. He claims he didn't stay there. motherfucker probably stayed there.
Bro.
And come on, and for him to, this is just a little bit of evidence that he's a fucking scumbag. Just a little bit of evidence. So, there's more evidence though. And
You're like,
believe me,
there's more.
there's a lot more. And I want you to go with this one right here. Did I announce my new book? Here's my new book, The White Friend on Being a Better Black Person, by Carlos Bennett.
Nice.
How to Be a Better Black Person by Carlos Bennett.
You should write that.
I did write it. It's coming out next week.
Nice.
So, this comes from the American Conservative. This was actually reposted by Real Clear Politics. But this comes from the American Conservative, and it is a conservative news source. I'm sorry. But go ahead and try to prove to me anything that they've done here is incorrect factually, and we'll have a different conversation. Frederick Joseph is a racist bully, is the name of this article.
Wow.
I was watching late last night. Oh, hey, bye. Sorry, you didn't. I was just watching time, and I exactly looked at it right when we were off. So, hey, welcome to the other side.
Yeah, sorry, I missed it too.
Welcome to the other side. Somewhere on the other side. I was watching late last night a documentary about the late Russian filmmaker Andrei Tarkovsky, who died in 1986. In a recording of his voice after he defected from to the West in the mid-'80s, we hear Tarkovsky saying that the measure of civilization is its spirituality. In a sense, he says he has much more hope for Russia, then still under Soviet rule, than for the West.
Wow.
Given what he has seen, a civilization that is rich but lacks spirituality is really a zombie civilization, he said. That line got me thinking this morning about Americans who have the false impression that free speech is under threat in Hungary, but who are completely ignorant of how much less free Americans are than Hungarians are to speak their minds. It has nothing to do with laws. It's about culture. Here's what I mean. After the movie, I checked Twitter and I saw this revolting drama played out, how this revolting drama played out. It started with Frederick Joseph, and he's talking about this whole situation we just spoke of. Was this white woman being obnoxious by mistaking Joseph and his fiancée for interlopers and telling them to go back to their own neighborhood? Yes, she was. If you live in New York City, as I did for 5 years, you have to develop thick skin because there is always somebody being obnoxious to you. Whether or not they're connected or not, you don't know. This is just life in the big city. When we saw the white woman recognized, when we saw the white woman was being recognized, she was being filmed, she got frightened. Fred Joseph, I like how he calls him Fred Joseph, realized that he had power over this woman. And armed with his 116,000 Twitter followers plus his Instagram mob, Fred Joseph decided to use it, and he doxed the shit out of her. Fred Joseph is a hypocrite, though. Someone on Twitter caught him saying just last month something about white people. And if you want to just go ahead and take a look at that screenshot from Frederick Joseph, it says from 8/27/21, this is just a couple days ago. This is last month, okay? A few days ago, last month. So many white people and police officers in Harlem, it doesn't even feel comfortable. Is that any more racist than saying, go back to your hood? Or is it equal? Is it not because he's black and he can say these kind of things?
Well, it's equal because he's assuming that she said these things to him in malice, in a sense, because she felt uncomfortable with them being around maybe a place where she's common to. He's saying the exact same thing with white people and officers. Harlem is common to me. Seeing you here makes me feel uncomfortable, so you go back to your hood.
Yeah, and by the way, she's in New York. Like, what hood do you think that they're coming from? You know, you're everywhere is black. I'm sorry. Continuing on. None of it matters. Fred Joseph can destroy a stranger's life after a single regrettable remark she made in a brief dog park encounter and get away with it because of the color of his skin, which makes him a sacred victim of the Biazocratic social order that the woke had created. Now, this word's from Baizu, the Mandarin term of concept for white Western progressives.
Mm.
Buys you like guaylo. It's guaylo. Okay. No teach guaylo. You don't teach guaylo.
Guaylo.
Yeah, you don't teach guaylo. You know that, right? You don't teach guaylo.
No.
Like if you know something, you don't teach it to guaylo. It's just forbidden. Or you have to fight a guy that you beat up, and then when you win, he kicks you in the back and breaks your back.
That sounds dangerous.
Watch the rewatch party, everybody. It doesn't matter that she was very recently guilty of the same hostility to white people that he accuses Emma of. People like Fred are power holders in this new world order. The rest of us have to be afraid of the Freds of the world, because all they have to do is think that some non-black person has been racist to them, and boom, that person faces an instant internet campaign to get them fired, and their name ruined forever. I wonder how amendable Emma and those who love her will be to appeals to oppose racism now. I wonder how likely they are to regard anti-racist campaigns as nothing but power plays. Stay far away from the Fred Josephs of the world. Nothing good can come from being their friend or associate, and do your best not to work for gutless companies that allow themselves to be manipulated by the Fred Josephs of the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't think of a single company that wouldn't have done what Bevy did. To be denounced publicly as an employer of racists is the trademark. I love this guy's writing. To be denounced publicly as an employer of racist trademark is the worst thing in the corporate world. Though not a bene, I don't know what that word is. Anybody who employs Fred Joseph has Twitter evidence from 8/27/21 that he harbors racist, anti-white views. But as we know, the Basiocracy that redounds to his credit. A lot of weird words there. A lot of weird words for your boy Los. So yes, speech is de facto more free in Hungary because so far it's not a common thing to try to use the internet and social justice ideology to get people to annoy you to get fired and destroy their lives. I think Fred Joseph is anti-white racist, but I would never try to get him fired for his views as long as he's not in a position to hurt people with them, and speech is not violence. Even racists like Fred Joseph have a moral right to earn a living. As ugly as his rhetoric is I would rather live in a society that tolerates it and doesn't try to destroy him personally and professionally than to try to live in the persecutorial society that whatever. A lot of big words. But you guys get the point. You guys get the point what he's saying here, right?
And it's also very, we didn't see this kind of treatment with Larry Elder, and the white lady who wore the gorilla mask and threw him an egg. You know what I mean? And that's where we come to the reality that we're not talking about race. We're not talking about white or black. We're not talking about that stuff. It's talking about ideology, right? The reason they went after this girl, and even the guy who he flashes the phone to, what else do you think he was going to say? Right? If he said, oh, actually, I didn't hear her say anything, then what he knew you would attack him with your phone and call him a racist. So the only thing he would do is agree with you because you're the one, right? The phone is now your weapon in a sense. So you're saying, agree with me, right? Oh, yeah, she did say that. You know what I mean? But we don't see the same outcry over a white woman wearing a gorilla mask who threw an egg at a black man.
Yeah,
nobody cares about that.
No racism was talked about because what his message is anti-racism, or it's not anti-racism.
Well, and like I said,
it's a giant shame.
Well,
dude.
and that's how we see that it has nothing to do with skin color, but it has everything to do with ideology. But the thing
they're all idolaters, by the way.
Definitely, they are. Yeah, they worship themselves. That's the thing about America. America is such a prideful, arrogant place where we've built this culture of pride. Of saying, oh no, it is all about you, right? You shouldn't get off of your couch. Food should come to you.
Do what you want.
Yeah, it's all about you.
But I mean, in that way, we should do. But exactly right. Everyone's a main character.
Yeah.
Main character syndrome. They think that they are the center of the universe, which in their mind they are, because we've been told your truth matters.
Yeah.
That's your truth, and that's what it is. They are so. they are more virtuous than you. They feel like they're gonna. People will write about me in the history books. That's what it is. It's all about trying to be the first, or to do something important with your life, which you should, but it's the wrong things. And although they come from good places, there's unintended consequences that
well,
happen.
and at the end of the day, it really is look at your ideology not just through the lens of modern time, but throughout the lens of history. You know, to look at these, whether it's capitalistic or communistic views, and put them through the lens of history and say, how's it worked out? You know, I like capitalism, but it has so many faults. You know what I mean? Once everything becomes a means of making money, that's how we got abortion, right? But at the same time, communism breaks down a civilization, you know, or hedonistic thinking, you go the way of Rome or Greece, you know what I mean? So what it is idolatry. You know, John Calvin, a great theologian from back in the day, said, man's heart is an idol factory. We're always making idols of one thing or the other. And that's our problem, is we're looking for something to worship, but we don't know what it is, because we come up in a culture of atheism where you are the undefined self.
You're the God
of
your world.
Yeah, so whatever you want, that's why we have things like your truth. It's your truth. Whatever you want to be true, it is yours. And people need to conform to your truth. And if they don't, they're against you. But again, that doesn't work in every bracket you put it in, because how does a marriage sustain in that way?
Yeah,
or how does an employment?
Your truth doesn't, like, I get the your truth part, that's fine, but to like have people conform to your truth is not right, because it is your truth. That's the reason why they say your truth. It's not the truth, it's your truth. So therefore you should know that your truth may differ from my truth.
Well, and that's why we are now seeing a culture, especially the youth, is, you know, they're more into like pornography. They are staying in their homes. They're not dating.
Trust me, we would have all grown up the same way if it was at our fucking in our pockets right now.
Exactly, and why?
Every computer. Well, I didn't even have computers as a kid. So like, if I grew up with, well, by the way, the computers made this sound.
Yeah, back in But what I'm saying is, what has happened now is, before there used to be a lapse, right? Like, you couldn't just pull it out on your phone and see sex. You had to go somewhere, you know what I mean?
They had stores dedicated to it.
Now
they still do.
Now the gratification is instant. Whatever you want is, and that's what I mean. It's all we've done in this capitalistic society is make people obese with information, or with a TV or whatever it be. And again, I was saying this to my wife, is think about all the CIA studies that we've done. Look at everything the government has done in psychological studies. Do you think that they don't know what they're doing with things like Facebook, or even having the news running rage bait?
They're designed to be addictive.
Exactly.
These games are designed to make you spend money or look at it the longest.
Yes, and you know, throughout all the psychological studies they've done, whether it's
how many times have you been sitting on the toilet and you just start scrolling fucking TikTok, and next thing you know, you're trying to get up and your legs are fucking completely like dead, and you're like trying to walk, and you're like, oh, my legs, and they feel like they're dead.
Damn, bro, how long are you sitting on the toilet?
About 3 hours later, I'm like, holy fuck. I haven't been pooping in like 2.5 hours.
You're like, that's my poop for the week. You're like, I may never have to poop for the rest of the week.
You've never sat on the toilet long enough to make your fucking legs numb? You're not living. But you know, the thing is too, is you're also sitting like this, and so like the circulation's getting cut off down here and then up here. So like the circulation's getting cut off real good, and then next thing you know, your foot feels so goddamn heavy, like it's just dead. You can't move it, and you're like picking up your leg with your pants and shit. Oh, it's Brandon. You've done that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, my man.
Well, you got what is it when you can't walk? You're TikTok paralyzed, or something? There needs to be a term for that.
It just means, I don't know. That was happening long before TikTok for me. It's the distraction on the phones, is what I'm telling you.
Oh.
It's the distractions. And Andy was bringing that up, man. The distractions, and whether it's designed for distraction purposes or it's designed for nefarious purposes, I don't know exactly.
Well, and I mean, many billionaires and millionaires even admit, and I mean, even I forgot who it was. I think it was a creator of some social media app. even said it himself. He doesn't allow his kids to be on the app or use the internet. And so many billionaires and millionaires don't allow their kids to do what they tell everyday Americans to do, because they know how bad it is for whether it's memory, whether it's knowledge, whether it's weight, whatever it is. You know what I mean? They want you to have it. They want you to be the consumers, but they don't want to be the consumers because they know what comes with it. You get bored, you get lazy.
Yeah,
you
but
get
that
this.
doesn't mean that they're like putting it out there, knowing like, you know, we're gonna get the kids hooked. Like I think about the little one. I wanted him to learn time before a normal kid would learn how to read time. So I was like, okay, let's start with digital watches. So we got him a little smart watch. They make them for kids now, but it's like a cheap one. It reads time, and it's got like a couple games on it, right? An alarm clock, pedometer. Just find out the kid's just playing, you know, the battery's dying fast because he's playing the games on it. Like he's distracted him. He's found the games, and he's playing with the games. And they're probably not in good games. Who knows? I've never even looked into them. But it's natural. When you give them like the TV, they grew up with the TV, them seeing a screen, they just can stare at it. Like I grew up with a screen. I can just sit and fucking stare at a screen all fucking day a lot of times. It's natural, but I don't think it came out of some nefarious thing. It's just we have so much goddamn freedom, and that's what I like about it. We have the freedom to get fat. We have the freedom to be zombies in front of the TV. But does not mean we have to be fat. Does not mean we need to be zombies. We need to also acknowledge that these things will make us do these things, and we shouldn't suppress any sort of knowledge that says against it. But I also don't want propaganda going, don't watch TV. It makes you ugly. It makes you fat. Don't eat fat food. It makes you fat. Like, I don't want that propaganda either. I don't want eating fat makes me fucking feel good. I don't want that. I just want to be able, I have the freedom. Just give me the information. Oh, okay, eating high-fat foods makes you not so healthy. Okay, I know that now.
Now it's my choice whether or not I want to do something with that
Don't
knowledge.
fucking don't go out in there and make campaigns to get people to stop doing something.
Yeah.
That's tyranny.
Well, again,
when you make an ad like against Ron DeSantis saying,
man,
this guy doesn't do these kind of things, and it's like absolutely the most non-tyrannical things out there.
I'm gonna fight for your freedom.
Oh my God!
No! Don't do it! Don't do it, Ron! I would kill myself if you do!
I'd rather die than have mandates. No!
I'm gonna make you free. Please don't. I want to be a slave.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing is it's called television programming. You know, Eddie Griffin has a really good joke on this, where he talks about they're programming you through the television. You know, again, that's why it's so important for people to understand things like MK Ultra. Yes, it sounds crazy. It sounds like the worst thing ever, and it sounds almost like it's not real. But the paper and the documents and everything is out there. What do you think they did with that information? What? Oh, okay, we know all this, but we're not going to use it. Come on, man. Like, you know, they...
Well, okay, wait, from what I understand, MC Ultra is sleeper. MK Ultra is super sleeper agents, right? They're programmed, and then like with certain phrase or something wakes them up and makes them like Jason Bourne.
Kind of. Well, MK Ultra, that's part of it, but it's almost like the deprogramming and reprogramming through psychological terrors and just kind of like beating people down. You know what I mean? It's almost like Zoolander. They showed MK Ultra really hilarious in Zoolander, and so
relax.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's that part of it. But even the you know, the erasing of the going into his subconscious and putting all these things in there. Again, that's what they do with us through television and all these things.
Okay, so I've learned a little bit about that kind of thing through like the magic aspect of my life with the sleight of hand. Like, to plant ideas is not as easy as when it says, and like I know it's like it takes a lot, right?
Yeah.
And it's not subliminal when an MK Ultra does it. Subliminal would mean like they're like secretly doing it, but these guys are like supposedly sitting there and like they're being bombarded with like, you know, Clockwork Orange style, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what we think when we think MK Ultra, but like that's not subliminal at all. That's just fucking straight up reprogramming by torturing you.
Yeah.
That's reprogramming. Anything else, it's just like the government was new. We were new and we were learning. We had new technology and we have to know what these things do and we need to know about, it's science. It's what they had to do. And going back, it's like, yeah, it was a reason why we don't make the secret, because people like everybody will freak the fuck out when they realize we're giving acid to cats.
Yeah.
just to see what it does because we need to fucking know.
But why? Right? Like,
Because we are. That's why Eve ate the fucking apple because of her curiosity.
well, because Satan, ultimately.
So curiosity is Satan.
And that's not what I'm saying.
Curiosity is the statue at Frederick Joseph's Airbnb. What is it
That's
called?
a Baphomet.
Baphomet.
No, I'm not.
That has like children on it, right?
Yeah, they have one.
Like
with
they're like at the side, and he's all
just
like
staring
fucking.
up at him. Yeah, it's creepy. Well, who was it? I think Buffy. One.
The Vampire Slayer.
I think it was her. One of those vampire shows. They made a new version of it, and she ended up getting sued, or the show got sued because they had the actual Baphomet. They remade it for the show, and the Church of Satan went after them because it's like you're not supposed to be showing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I wonder how their thing with the capital A is going.
What's that? What was the teenage witch? Sabrina.
Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina, the one that Netflix ended up doing.
Oh, they made a new Sabrina?
And they made it like really horrific, and it's like for teens, but it's kind of like a little.
Yeah.
What kind of teens are watching this?
Let the kids watch what they want to watch.
But yeah, and that's you're right. You're right in saying MK Ultra, the way we know it, is more like in your face. What the way it's been done is through patience. Like you're trickling this in through movies, through the media, through art, through cartoons, through this and that, little by little. It's this small subliminal messaging that's gonna break its way through. Like that's what I mean. We also think that there is this like Austin Powers, like there's somebody out there like nefariously thinking. It's a conglomerate, right? Like it's not that right. How many people run the big tech? It's only about 5. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or they're the same thing. TikTok, Twitter, right? It's only a few group of people. So that's what I'm saying. It's an ideology. It isn't a person. It's an ideology that's flooding itself. And again, even when you look at Nazi Germany, right? We're saying, okay, we gave acid to cats and this and that. That's why I'm saying it isn't curiosity that is Satan. It's when is too far. Right? We look at the Nazis and say, oh, you guys went too far, but who says that was too far? Because what are we doing now? Almost the same.
6 million Jews, that's pretty far.
No, that's far, but to whose standard?
Right? I guess to anybody, because just one life's too much.
Well, we'll see what happens in the history books about what's going on right now.
And I think that's a good place to end it there today. A lot of changes coming up for the show. I hope you enjoyed this one. I think it was a pretty fancy one.
It was a good one.
There are lots of things on the horizon for Emergency Exit Productions, and you guys are the first to see it. Lots more to come. In the meantime, for Brandon the Hardhead Mitchell, for exactly David Aguilar, I'm Lo saying, be cool, stay hip, get yourself a fucking hobby. That's right.